recording. Okay, Grandma.
Okay.
This is only my second time doing this in person, or third time. So ready? We're gonna
Oh,
start.
this is the third time that we're gonna talk face to face.
No. For this show.
That's what I mean. That you talk to somebody. Okay.
Okay, now I can take this off. But yeah, so the first. Who was the first one? Tony Miguel was the first one.
Was he?
When I went and visited him,
Yeah.
and then who was the second one?
So you're saying I'm the third person that you're gonna be doing face to face?
Yeah. Who was the second one? Nay, who did I just do this in person with? Oh, with Allison. With her friend Allison.
Oh.
Are we good? Are we
Yeah, you guys are cute.
in frame? Okay, perfect.
We are.
Okay, so we're all right. Let me just make sure. Oh, this is a little hot, actually. I'll lose this. Okay, Grandma, here we go. I started again. So give me 1 second.
Okay.
Anything to say before we start? Before I play the intro music?
No.
All right, and I'll lose that. Okay, so Grandma, where I was gonna start this time, because I was watching the last one back, and it was just me talking about the trip to Iraq.
Oh, was it really
Yeah.
most of it?
Yeah, I was like, oh my God, Grandma didn't even talk in this one. You just listened.
Okay.
So I was thinking, with Rebecca's wedding tomorrow,
Right.
I was wondering what yours and Grandpa's wedding was like. Because I don't think I've heard any stories.
There wasn't a wedding yet.
Really?
I'm just kidding.
It was just a
very,
courthouse?
It was very a poor wedding. I didn't have a hall.
Mm-hmm.
I had a
Where was it?
dress
In Michigan or?
Yeah, it was at my mom's house, but we did have a church wedding.
Mm-hmm.
We got married at St. Francis,
Mhm.
and I had a wedding dress, and but my father couldn't even walk me down the aisle because he was at that time they had diagnosed him with a sickness, with TB actually,
Oh,
and he was
in a wheelchair?
in the hospital.
Oh, in the
Yeah, he couldn't come out.
Oh.
So I'm trying to think who walked me down the aisle. I forgot.
Not one of your brothers?
Honestly, I don't remember. But it was a church wedding. Oh, can you hear me better?
Yeah, no, I can hear you.
It was a church wedding,
Yeah.
and the reception actually was in the basement
Of the church?
at my house.
Oh,
And it
that's how Rebecca's is gonna be.
And it was a very poor,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the meal was very simple. And I
Just a
had
can of beans, everyone split.
kind
split
of,
some
yeah,
frijoles?
yeah. I had a lady friend that even my mother didn't have nothing to do with it.
Mhm.
This friend was kind of like a cook,
Mhm.
and she offered to make the celebration herself, so she cooked in the kitchen. And the family was in the basement,
Mhm.
so we, and your grandfather was, I don't want to call him names, but he was very reserved, I think my kids are like that. He didn't like to be out in public or
Mhm.
festivals or anything like that.
He didn't like. Yeah, we know you were out on the town.
I was a wild one. I was a wild one. Yeah.
She looked at you.
Got a little eyebrows raised.
But my ex-husband was very serious, so we left early. The party went on.
You left your own wedding
my
reception
own
early?
Wedding, yes.
That sounds like something I would do.
And I tell you, I didn't cry, but I was sad that he acted that way,
Yeah.
But he just didn't want to be around family, because mostly it was family. So we went for our honeymoon in Ohio. we went to our honeymoon in Ohio.
I wish I could talk to Grandpa. Just ask him
Oh,
why.
he would probably tell you a different story.
Yeah.
But anyway,
So where'd you go in Ohio?
I'm trying to think of the name. It was
Cedar Point?
no, not even Cedar Point. Oh my goodness! And I always think about that town.
The honeymoon?
It wasn't even Ohio. It was I mean, it was the state of Ohio, but it wasn't Toledo. It was,
Okay, so it was a
it
no-name
was a
town
really
in Ohio.
known, yeah, and I can't think of the name right now. That's silly. But for a week, that's all it was.
It's fun.
And then
Was it fun? At least.
Oh yeah, we had him and I. I mean, I loved him. He loved me. You know,
Yeah.
we were in good. And only the thing is that I wasn't happy with his decisions. You know,
Yeah.
and at that time, I see now that the woman has a lot of say so.
Mhm.
And at that time, it was the man that made the decision.
Yeah.
I mean, he was the boss, really.
Yeah.
If the wife wanted to move, you wouldn't go anywhere unless he wanted to go. You know,
Mhm.
like when you want to move to another state or do another job, you have to cater to the
You had to go
husband.
through
You know,
him.
you have to go. Even if she was working, she had to leave her job. But most of the mothers were wives were home.
Mhm.
But anyway, I did work. I was working when I got married, and it was okay. But it was just a short week. I mean,
Mhm.
just a week, and we didn't do anything really. Just walk around the park or stuff like that.
But
you
it was
know.
a good time.
But
You
we
had
had
a,
a good time.
yeah.
And
That's
then we
good.
came back, to live with my parents.
Mhm.
You know.
Where
at-
where did your parents live? Eastburst? No, Allen Park. I don't know.
Lincoln Park.
Lincoln Park.
They lived in Lincoln Park, and I don't know how we did it because I told you before. There's 10 of us.
Yeah.
I don't know how we did it. We were there. I can't even remember how it was
Right.
arranged.
Right.
And your grandfather was like again very.
Because what? He was 19 when you.
He was 19.
He was 19
yeah.
when you guys
In
got
fact, I
married.
was telling my son today, I don't hold anything against your grandpa, even though we divorced,
Mhm.
and he had a girlfriend, you know.
Mhm.
But I said, my God, the kid was 19 years old. He didn't have a life, you know.
He didn't know
Yeah.
anything. I'm just sitting here. I'm 24, and
Are you
I can't imagine being married for 5 years already.
19 and start having kids right away.
Yeah, like-
and there was like one after another. By the time he was maybe, well,
Wait, what? 5 kids, right? Back to back. He'd be like 26, 27.
yes.
That's-
Carl was born in, Carl and Andrew were born in 60, Bob 61, Gilbert 64, Terry 68. So he was
Wow, yeah,
very,
back to back
very
to back,
young, you know. And I said, no wonder he wanted his single life, you know.
Right.
And I was 24. I had already party. And,
Yeah, you were already out on the town.
I was ready, you know. But anyway, we came back to my parents' house, and he was responsible, though.
Mhm.
Your grandpa never wanted to live off of anybody.
Mhm.
I think I told you he had a job in a gas station, making like $1.
Oh my God.
It's off. Don't tell me I gotta repeat this all over again.
I didn't record. You know what we're gonna do, Grandma?
I am not going to.
Wait, wait, wait.
I am
No,
not
no,
going to
no, no,
repeat
no.
that
No, you're not.
anymore.
Oh my God, this was. Oh no, this was recording. Okay, so we're good. We're good. So what we're gonna do? We're just gonna go off of this, cause that was recording, so it's okay. So
Okay.
okay, so
Go on.
anyways, Grandpa Felipe didn't want to whatever, blah blah blah.
Anyway, we came back to my parents' house
Right.
and lived there for a little while. But your grandfather was an old-fashioned man, even though he was
He
19.
was 19. Yeah, I keep forgetting all of that. Like through all of this, he was still just.
Just a kid.
He was a kid. Yeah.
Yeah. He was just I see you guys now, even at 23, you're just young. You know, you want to live life before you commit yourself to 5 kids.
Yeah.
You know?
And especially
Okay.
right back to
The
back.
same with a
to
woman,
back
you
to
know,
back
you
to
don't
back.
want a girl to get married. My mother was 18 when she got married and started having one kid after another, 10 kids all her life.
Jeez.
She never had a single life, really.
Really makes you think. Really puts into perspective why people were meaner back in the day.
Meaning,
What?
yeah.
They had nothing to do. All they had was kids. They were pissed. She's giving me a look like.
I think that I'm going to make my own decision, my own fact. I think that it was the culture. The girl had to get married. You know, the girl didn't. At least in my race, in the Mexican race, or my family, you know, you didn't need education. You didn't need
Right. You
schooling
just needed to just
because
start
your
working.
job was to get married and have a bunch of kids. You know, and the man was the head of the house.
But not you. You were working,
Me?
doing your thing.
No, I kind of started turning things around in my area, in my part.
Yeah.
A little bit, you know,
But,
because like
but
I
you said when you were like 24, 25.
yeah, I was
so you
already
were-
24, 25, you know.
Right.
And they kept pushing, my family kept, when are you going to get married, you
Yeah.
know. And Sandra
What'd
got
you tell
married
them?
when she was, I'm not ready. Not ready. I wanted to go out with my girlfriends. I wanted to
Yeah.
have fun. My sister got married at 16. The other one got married
Oh my
about
God.
18.
I can't imagine that.
Too young.
I mean,
Sandra,
that's what it was.
that's what it
I
was.
get it,
You know,
yeah.
a girl could get married at 16 because the parents said it was okay,
Yeah.
and then have 16 kids. You know, and not only Mexicans. I think there's other nationalities that
yeah.
they did the same thing. You know.
Yeah.
But anyway, going back to me, Phil did not like my mother to cook for him.
Really?
It was my responsibility.
Oh, he only ate if you cooked
I
it?
had to cook.
How weird.
I
What a
had to
weirdo.
wait until my mother left the kitchen, and then because he would not eat my mom's cooking, I had to cook. So eventually, he wanted out. He didn't want to live there anymore.
Right.
And which I could understand.
He was a
too.
grown man. He was
He was-
21.
He was, yeah. He was, he was 19 still.
Oh, at 19?
Yeah, just after we got
I
married.
can't
yeah,
imagine that.
just
What do you know at 19?
just a few months after we got married.
Oh, wow.
We
Is that
moved
fast?
out and we rented a place in Delray. No, we rented a place in River Rouge, and it was a small, modest place, you know. And we lived there for, you know, and he was okay then, you know. But he was working at a gas station making $1 an hour, you know. So, and then we didn't have kids yet, of course, you know. It was until later. But then when he
And where were you working at that time?
at that time, I was working downtown in an office.
Oh, okay.
It was called the Bureau of Credits, you know. But I had several jobs already,
Right,
you know.
right. I know, and
Yeah.
that's why I was trying to think because this was before the restaurant, right?
Oh,
How did you guys get the
yeah.
restaurant?
Your grandpa's idea, too, you know.
Why you roll your eyes like that?
Because
'Cause he didn't cook?
because he thought about it and he never worked in it. You know, he thought about it. It was a great idea, but he didn't want to put time into it because he was working at McLeod Steel, making fairly good money. You
Right.
know, and in conversation, like maybe you and I can talk and say, you know, I would like to have a restaurant. You know. Gilbert says it all the time. Oh, it would be nice.
But I feel like
to
it's
do
different
cooking."
if you cook. Did Grandpa cook?
No. He didn't even cook. I was the cook.
Yeah, I know you. Which is
So-
which is so funny to me
Oh,
because
my
I've seen
God.
you cook.
Now.
No, I've seen you cook never. I don't think I've ever seen not in
Not after so many 37 years cooking for my husband and my kids. I ain't gonna cook now.
Nay,
It's
Nay, when
restaurant.
I used to eat when I would come over here, I make a big bowl of popcorn, and it wasn't goldfish. It was off-brand goldfish. They were dolphins, and pour them into the popcorn, and I'd mix them around, and that's what I would eat.
I didn't cook.
That's some high life living.
That was
Yeah,
and I would
yeah.
watch Finding Nemo for hours.
I was scared of finding Nemo as a kid.
Oh, Nemo. I
Okay,
remember Nemo.
You don't have a microphone. That's enough.
Yeah.
You brought me into the conversation.
Next time you get a mic too, so we're all three of us would be.
Here, I'll tap out. Do you want to ask a question or do you want to keep working? Yeah, she's working.
So, excuse me. Anyway,
So in passing conversation, he said it would be a good idea to have.
Yes.
He wanted to have a restaurant.
he wanted to have a restaurant, but he wasn't a cook. Okay, I was a cook, but it was a good idea for us to have a restaurant. You know, and I wasn't working at the time. I was home raising the kids. You know, I didn't have a job.
Right.
So he goes to Wyandotte, and he sees this building that he thought it was a good idea to make a restaurant and have a restaurant there. And guess who's going to cook?
Oh, my
And
God.
the building was it wasn't a very fancy building, but it was a nice building with
Did it
two
already
lots.
have like the like all of the
no,
kitchens?
no.
Oh, my
It
God.
was actually it was a fish market.
Oh my God.
And it was a nice. It was like a setup for carryout, but not for a restaurant. And the man that owned the building wanted to get out,
Yeah.
and he said he wanted to get some money out of the restaurant so he could go back to Italy, and he died soon after that. So anyway, he was running the there was a guy named Toomer.
Tumor. Oh my God.
Tumor, and he was running the fish business. She was running fresh fish, cooked fish. It was really a good setup for fish,
But
So we decided to take over the fish business,
it was a fish. It was a.
a fish carry-out
Oh, I
business.
thought it was a Mexican restaurant.
Well, later on we did. So I started cooking fish
Yeah.
because the guy that Mr. Toomer and his wife showed me how clean fish, and I would go to the Eastern Market and get the fresh fish, and then we would fry it. And Polish people in Wyandotte love fish, especially in Lent.
Yeah.
In Lent, they bought a lot. We had a good business with Polish people.
City will just like crack open those little cans and just.
Oh, sardines. Do you
And
like sardines?
I like
Oh,
sardines.
They're not sardines.
Walleye?
They're called,
Not walleye.
Pert or something.
Oh.
They were. We had all kinds of fish: redfish, pickerel, walleye, or whatever they call it, shrimp. We had scallops, oysters, everything.
Some of
Yeah,
those
kind
are
of.
fish.
Yeah. Yeah,
seafood?
scallops, but seafood.
Anyway,
Okay.
okay, so
So
how long,
then,
how long were you guys in the fish biz?
well, it wasn't too long after the fish. Your grandpa got the idea that okay, we're going to introduce Mexican food. So
Fish and Mexican
and
food
fish,
restaurant.
and it was called. If you want to know, it was called Sunny Carryout. Never changed to a Mexican name. It was Sunny's Carryout.
Sonny's carry out.
And the Mexicans in Ecors knew that Sonny was there, and they would go buy food, And and my brother used to work at Great Lakes, so he would go
He was
to.
just telling everybody.
He was telling everybody. He would go, and then he would go and make an order, and then carry to the mill, And he would sell the meat. We used to make dinners, and all that.
Right.
So we went, and then at that time, I wasn't too happy about cooking Mexican and fish, all the time. So I hired a cook. And she was one of the best cooks in Downriver, And she was strictly Mexican,
So no more
So,
fish? Or did you
no,
do fish?
I did both. We did the fish and the taco business. It was called taco, but I mean, not really tacos. We sold enchiladas and we sold all kinds of
All kinds of
burritos, and all that.
So
and
how
it was
did the
really
restaurant
cooking.
do? Did it do well?
It was doing well, but I started getting tired and angry and upset with your grandpa, because he was not a businessman. He went and bought a
He
big.
sounds like an idea guy.
He went and bought a big sign with a lot of lights with an arrow, what's going to be put in the restaurant. Never put it up. So he was a kid at
I
heart.
was gonna say he sounds like he's got a lot of ideas. Or
He had a lot of ideas, but he was a kid. Now I'm thinking back about those days. He wanted to go to Cedar Point on Sundays or Saturdays and close the restaurant. And sometimes that's where the business was most of the weekend. And I would say, Phil, we can't close the restaurant, We have to. Well, you stay. I'm going. And he would go. He would go to Cedar. He would go to Cedar Point, and I would stay and do the cook. Then I had to go to Easter Market and get all the food from Easter Market.
Right.
Come back home and get my help, because I had help and sometimes they wouldn't go, so I had
Did the
to
kids
pitch
ever
in.
work at the restaurant?
Yeah, Andrew and Carl. I think Andrew and Carl. I don't remember Bob. I think even Bob, because I had Bob, Carl, and the three of them.
Yeah.
Terry wasn't born, and neither
Yeah, I was
was.
gonna say my mom. I think my mom was.
And
too little.
Gilbert was young.
He was a baby.
Yeah.
And the babies don't do anything.
No, babies don't do nothing. No. Especially
That
Gilbert.
That makes sense why Tio Gil and my mom argue them.
You know what? I was sitting here thinking about Terry and Gilbert. There's a lot of rivalry. What do they call it?
Rivalry?
They don't get along with each other.
Because my mom was the only girl, and then
And
Tim Gill was the youngest.
Well, Gilbert was 4 years the baby,
yeah.
and we catered to him. You know, he was born in
And you
'64,
get used to that. Yeah.
and he was the baby. And then here comes a girl, which I really wanted a daughter. You know, and being the youngest and a girl, they couldn't get along.
Yeah.
You know, there was a lot of jealousy, and then she was
And it
spoiled.
makes
You know,
sense.
yeah,
It makes sense to
yeah.
me.
So anyway, then I got sick.
Mm-hmm.
I got really sick. I ended up in the hospital,
Oh,
and it was several things, you know, that I had. One of them was probably stress, and
yeah, I mean, taking
so
care
you
of all
know-
the kids, running the restaurant,
so you know what happened?
close the restaurant, sold it.
He closed the restaurant. He closed the restaurant because he said he wasn't going to put any time. He was working for McLeod Steel, making more money. Why should he be a cook at a
Right.
restaurant, you know?
Right.
And we had to let go of the cook, and we lost. We lost a lot of money. Then the restaurant sat there for a few years. The building wasn't sold, and we had expensive stove and freezers and all that. Eventually, we had to sell the
Yes.
property.
So
Yeah.
you sold it
Sold out.
at sold the whole thing as is, like, sold the restaurant,
Yeah.
or you sold it piece by
No, we
piece?
sold everything. We sold the property and everything, you know. But I think if we would have stayed, I think if I would have made a go of it, it probably would have a good carry out because now Mexican and fish is very popular anywhere, you
Yeah.
know.
Oh my god.
So
yeah.
and we didn't have tables or anything to wait on. I mean, it was all carry out.
Oh, okay.
So
And yeah, now, well, I mean, you wouldn't be doing it now,
Yeah.
but like,
well, maybe I don't know. Maybe Terry would have taken over.
yeah, right. See my mom.
And you guys
selling
would have been
food?
working.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
But that's what happened during that time, you know. And
I didn't know that much about that.
I got out. I went back home. I got well, and
And was that about when my mom was born, or before?
no, I continue. I continue being home raising Gilbert and the other kids, but I got other jobs.
Yeah.
I went
Working at the
I went
bank.
downtown and I worked at a credit office down there, and then I got what do you call a catalog store in Lincoln Park. I
Grandma,
worked there.
what's the coolest thing you ever bought? You worked a lot. You had a lot of jobs, and everybody spends their money on something. I'm just wondering what you spent your money on. What's
Now or then?
then?
It was a lot of clothes and things for the kids. I
But
always
for you,
thought.
did you ever buy? What did you like to buy? Like stuff for you, or did you just like to go out?
No.
Not like just go out.
No,
but
I
like-
wasn't. I wasn't a buying person. You know, I didn't like to do my nails and my hair, and
Right.
no, never did. When I was before I got married, I just liked fun.
Yeah.
I
But,
just
what stuff would you go out and do? Because I'm just thinking, it sounds like Grandpa Chewy, like to go to Cedar Point, buy himself toys and stuff like that. So I'm just wondering what you did. Because everybody spends their money on something.
I was after I got married, I didn't have a life really
Right.
because he was raising my kids. You know,
Before.
yeah. Before it was party time.
Going out,
Yeah,
bars,
go-
dancing.
Dancing, making calls with my girlfriends and all kinds of friends, and I think I told you we crash parties in Detroit.
No.
And yeah, we would go and if there's a party going on,
What was
a
the
bunch
best
of
party
girls.
you
And,
crashed? Give me a crazy party story. Give me one party story.
well, there was this one party that we had a friend that she was older than us,
Mm-hmm.
and she was our driver. And there was like maybe 5 or 6 of us that were underage. You know, we weren't driving.
Right.
So we went to this party to Detroit,
Mm-hmm.
and we crushed this party. It was somebody's birthday or something, you know, and we mangled, and they didn't even know we weren't invited, you know. So we ended up getting out of there until about 2:00 in the morning,
Oh my god.
and but I think I was already 18. I don't remember my mother putting any restrictions on me then. And as we were coming out, I see my nephew at 2:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
And he says, "What are you doing here, Tia? You know it's 2:00 in the morning." And I said, "Really? What are you doing here?" So that's the party I remember. Yeah.
Right.
And I said, "Oh, because at that time restaurants were open at 2:00.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
We
Coney
we could go.
Island
Yeah,
and
we
stuff.
could go to a Coney Island Mexican restaurants or
Yeah.
whatever. But and then we would come home. We would take a nap. Like I said, there was 10 of us there. By that time, some of them were going to work or whatever. My brothers and then I would go to bed. And Sunday morning, this was on a Saturday night. Lupe, which was our driver, would say, "Okay, you guys tomorrow, get ready after church. We'll meet at Elizabeth Park or wherever, and we're gonna have a picnic."
Oh.
So all of us, a whole bunch
You guys
of girls,
would go
go,
out Saturday night and,
and
have
then
a picnic
Sunday we would have, we
Oh,
would go
that's
have a
cool.
picnic.
That's a good time.
Anyway, can cut.
Yeah. Yeah. Wait. Okay. You're done.
Yeah.
We can be done. Okay.
No. Oh, we don't have to be done. I mean,
Okay,
whatever
yeah.
you want to do. Can you
Okay,
pause?
then let's
'cause,
pause. We'll be right back after these messages.
A few moments later.
come before Christmas.
Oh yeah, and then I'm gonna be here until Christmas. Whenever I come, I'll be here until Christmas.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh.
So we're back.
Are
We're
we
back from
recording? Are we recording
We're,
again?
we're recording now. We're good on this. We're good on that.
Okay, let me finish. I just want to make this clear to you.
Finish your story.
We didn't drink or do drugs or anything. We were wild in a way where we go to parties and do stuff like, but boys would go,
do stuff like what?
like running, going to the picnic, dancing, breaking,
doesn't sound wild then.
yeah, well, they call it wild then. Boys would meet girls at the park. We didn't date. It was like a bunch of girls and a
Yeah.
bunch of guys. They'd ride in their cars, and whether they were drinking or whatever they were doing, but they did their own thing. But then we would meet at the park. We play games, baseball game or whatever it is, because we were all kind of like young in sports, stuff like that. But that's what I'm saying. I mean, when I said wild
It
and we
wasn't
went to
wild,
parties,
it wasn't.
it wasn't like
Grandma,
anybody.
You weren't popping ecstasy.
Yeah, no, not take some girl going with some guy and the other. No,
Right.
we were all together, and this lady, her name was Lupe, the driver. Her boyfriend had died in the war, and she never remarried, so she was single. But she would be our driver. She would take us wherever we wanted to. Do I?
It's up to you if you wanna.
I'll ignore her right now, because I got to finish my recording now.
Okay, so finish up your story. So
Okay.
you guys would all go
Yeah.
hang out at the park.
Yeah. Okay, then I got married, and I met your grandpa at a gas station where he was making $1.10 an hour, And your grandpa was, like I said, young. I didn't like him at first, but then I thought, okay, I'll go out with this guy,
Right.
But then the kids started coming, when I started working at the bureau, but I wanted more education. I wanted to advance in some way.
Yeah.
So I went to school. I took classes. I had quit school in the 11th grade,
Where'd you go? Henry Ford?
Lincoln Park,
Lincoln Park.
and then I went to Wayne State,
Oh,
where-
okay. I didn't know you
But
went to Wayne
I graduated in 1975. That's when I got and I was very proud of myself
I didn't know that.
because I was the only one in my family that graduated,
What'd you graduate
of
with?
the older ones,
What'd you graduate with? From Lincoln Park, you said?
Yeah,
Or-
from Lincoln Park.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
Alex, my niece, graduated at the same time, and she was very upset because I was too old. I already had Terry. By that time, I already had Terry,
Right.
and I kept on going to school anyway, and I worked, went to school, and look at my kids, So when I was just gonna get the GED or whatever they call it,
Yeah.
but since I had quit on 11th grade, my counselor or whatever it is, they talked to me.
Yeah, they said.
And they said, why don't you just come back to school
Yeah.
and finish your classes? And then you can graduate with a regular class. And I said, oh, okay, you know. So
How long did you go to Wayne State for?
For about a year, you know, just to
some
really, yeah,
classes.
just a class. And not, I don't have any degree on
Yeah.
anything, you know. But that's what I after that, you know, I worked on and off, you know,
Right.
because when Bob was born, I went back to work.
Mm-hmm.
Even until I got pregnant again, then I
Tio
had
Gil?
Gilbert.
Yeah, Tio Joe.
I got after Bob was born, I went back to school and I got pregnant with Gilbert, and I had to stay home again. And then Gilbert was a baby for 4 years, so I worked all that time. I went into well, anyway, I got a license for real estate, and I sold real estate for a while, and I really like it.
Yeah.
There was one job that I wish
That you just
I
love.
would have kept, yeah. But your grandfather didn't like it.
Yeah.
And he said, either you choose your real estate or you choose your marriage.
That doesn't seem fair. Yeah, that's,
Because I can understand, I don't know how you are, but he was jealous that I would have, a guy would call me and say, I want to meet I want to see a house at
yeah.
7 o'clock at night, you know, in
Yeah.
Allen Park. And I had to go. I had to go show a house,
Right.
you know. And it was a man. And I would tell him, you know, this guy
Yeah.
wants to see it. And he said, no, I don't like that. You know, I don't like
I
it.
mean, I could get that, but that I don't know.
It was
That-
dangerous for one thing. I think of it now. It was dangerous for me to take a guy and go and show a house,
Yeah.
just me and him,
Yeah.
and who knows who I was going to meet. And now they're doing through the internet, you know.
Yeah.
I would have loved to do it through the internet and all that. So I quit my real estate.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, no, I want to be married. I want to keep my kids, you know.
Yeah.
I would have probably lost my children. So one day, this real estate girl and I were walking around, and I'm thinking, what am I going to do? Because I'm not staying home.
Yeah.
I wasn't a housewife. I wanted to be out working.
Yeah.
So there's an ad for Security Bank hiring help. So we went for the interview, and I was hired. The other girl wasn't, but I was
Right.
hired.
And so that's when you
And
started
she
at the
said,
bank?
yeah, she said, I can get you a job, but it's a part-time job, you know.
And you're like, perfect.
And I ended up 30 years there,
Wow.
30 years at the bank, you know.
Wow.
But it wasn't my calling. It wasn't what I really wanted, you know. I think I would have liked to
To be real estate.
maybe be a broker in real estate. I think I would have liked that because I'm kind of like a people person, you
I mean,
know.
it sounds
yeah.
like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You were
I-
out
Yeah.
talking to people,
Yeah.
and you got to have that
Yeah.
to see all of those people, and
Right.
meet somebody. And,
I loved it, yeah.
Yeah.
Or open houses, we would have like an open house, and we would have people coming in, and we would talk to them trying to sell. Oh, you know, if you don't like this house, we got this other house. And I'm very happy one day, there was a couple in Taylor, and they called me to go give him an appraisal on the house, you know. And I said, they were from the South, I think. And the guy said, what do you think, you know, we'll get for this house if we sell it, you know? And I gave him a figure. I forget it was 25,000 or I forget the price. And he says, "Are you crazy? You'll never sell this house for this price. It's not worth it."
Right.
It was a frame home, I think. And I said, "Well, would you give me the listing? If you give me the listing, I'll try to sell it." Well, it's sold.
For what you
The-
said.
Yeah. And he was so happy. And he said, "Okay, I really think, you know, I know what you can you buy me, can you find me a house to buy?" And I said, "Oh, yeah, I guess I could." So I started looking for houses for him. And he wanted something cheaper, lower,
Right.
and he didn't care where. So I found a house in Ecorse, cheap, you know.
Right.
And I was so happy that I did. I sold and, you know, I bought
Yeah.
and sold. It was really good.
So wow.
It was one of my proud.
That
one
might
of my
that might
proudest
have
things.
been
It was very
Another life.
interesting. It was very interesting. If you ever think about real estate, now with the computers, I think it's even easier. You know.
Yeah.
But at that time,
Now
it
it
was
seems like everybody's getting their real estate license.
yeah. But if you can get it and sell just one home, you know, will
Yeah,
be
I
a
mean
house.
it's definitely not
Yeah,
easy. You
yeah,
gotta have
yeah.
the skills for. I don't think I
You could do that.
I don't know.
But I did. I liked it, and I was the only one that really. Your grandpa was satisfied with what he was doing. He worked for McLeod Steel, and I had the hardest time asking him to change jobs because he did not. He was
'Cause he
kind of
was
like
comfortable.
it was kind of like Bob, my son. He didn't want to make a move. He was too comfortable where he was,
Yeah.
even though he was only making $1.50 an hour, you know. And I thought, with 5 kids, you can't
Yeah, you gotta
support
do a
them, you
little
know.
more.
I was always helping, you know. We both worked together, but I said you have to have. So someone, I forget, a friend must have suggested he would go to McLeod Steel, and they hired him because he was young and healthy and everything. You
Right.
could get, and he. I shouldn't say that he didn't have ambition because he did become an electrician. I think through the plant,
Yeah.
he got
Right,
his
but
work
he
up
was
there.
comfortable.
Yeah.
which,
He
is-
liked what he
there's
did,
Nothing,
yeah.
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But
And
some
he
people
put
are
like 40
comfortable.
years there too, 30,
Yeah.
40 years, you know. So that is what happened up to that time, you know. Life isn't easy, you
Right.
know. You struggle, but you have to, but nothing is impossible either, you know. If you follow your dreams, you know, sooner or later
You find something.
you'll find something and your dreams will come through.
I think that's a great place to end then.
You like it?
Let's end it right there. Unless you have anything else.
No,
to say.
we're done for today.
All right, that's
You
it.
have a good day. Love you.
And that's it. Okay. And